What is going on, NFL fans? I am super excited to talk to you guys today about the Houston Texans traveling on the road to take on the number one seed Baltimore Ravens. On paper, it looks like this Baltimore Ravens team is better everywhere, but when you dig deep into the statistics, this game's going to be a lot closer than people think. And I'm projecting that the struggles in the playoffs for Lamar Jackson is going to continue, and the Houston Texans are going to upset the Baltimore Ravens this weekend. I'm going to tell you why. Real quick, before we get into this breakdown of the Houston Texans traveling to Baltimore to play the Ravens in this divisional playoff game, if you guys could hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, it really means a lot to us here. We're working on this channel to make it the best sports channel on YouTube. Thanks again. Lamar Jackson is having an MVP-like season this year, guys. He's been incredible. 3,600 passing yards, 24 touchdowns. Man, he's crushing it. But he is 1-3 in the playoffs. He was 6-2 at home, and he's won 10 out of his last 11 games. Wow. But he doesn't have a lot of help on the offensive side of the ball. He doesn't really have a ton of reliable receivers that he can go to in a pinch. And tight end Mark Andrews is returning from injury. We're not really sure how he's going to look coming back. The Baltimore Ravens are sixth in total offense, but they're in the bottom third of passing yards. If Houston wants to win this game, they're really going to have to run the ball effectively against this very shreddable Baltimore Ravens rush defense. They're sixth in total defense, sixth in passing yards allowed, but 14th in rushing yards allowed. On the flip side, the Houston Texans are 7th in passing yards and 23rd in rushing offense. So they really need to establish the run game to have a chance at winning this game. Over their last 5 meetings, Baltimore is 4-1, and they've outscored the Texans 132-66. But CJ Stroud was not on any of those teams. And CJ Stroud, I've been betting against him all year, and he continues to win over and over again. And what he was able to do against a very good Cleveland Browns defense, a defense that is just as good, if not better, than this Ravens defense. He shredded them. He makes tough throws. He's really good on third down. The Baltimore's defense is incredible. 60 sacks on the year, 31 takeaways, and they've let opposing quarterbacks' passer rating only be 74. That's crazy, but I just like the juice that CJ Stroud is serving, guys. He looks so unbelievably good. He blows my mind. He's so good, and he doesn't even have like excellent receivers or great running backs. What is CJ Stroud going to accomplish once they get him a premier number 1 receiver and a top 10 running back? Even without the best weapons in the world, he's kind of like a quarterback that reminds me a little bit of Tom Brady, where he makes all these mediocre to slightly above mediocre players so much better. They're averaging around 245 passing yards per game and right around 97 rushing yards, which ranks 22nd. They're 13th in the league in scoring at 22 points per game. If Baltimore wants to have a chance in this game, it's going to be with Lamar Jackson not running the ball, but throwing the ball against this 23rd ranked passing defense. But surprisingly, they give up a lot of passing yards, but they don't give up a lot of points. They're only giving up around 20 points per game, which ranks 11th in the NFL. CJ Stroud had an incredible year, 4,100 passing yards, 8th best in the NFL, with 23 touchdowns against 5 interceptions, and completing nearly 64% of his passes. On the ground, Stroud added another 3 rushing touchdowns and 167 yards. He's not your typical quarterback that wants to run the ball if the pocket breaks down. He wants to step up in the pocket, throw the ball down the middle of the field, and make plays with his arms. Wide receiver Nico Collins has around 1,300 yards this year, 8th in the NFL, 8 touchdowns, which is also 8th in the NFL on 80 receptions. He was also targeted about 110 times. And Devin Singletary is averaging about 52 yards rushing per game, around 900 yards on the season. He's not elite, by any stretch of the imagination, and I feel like the Ravens are really going to lock down Devin Singletary. I don't know if he's good enough to shred this mediocre rush defense of the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore offense is going to rely on guys like Gus Edwards and Zay Flowers to get the job done. And Justice Hill has rushed for 387 yards and 3 touchdowns as well. So they kind of spread the ball out a lot. They don't have any superstars really on offense, guys. I think this Houston Texans team could get out to an early lead, change the game plan a little bit for these Baltimore Ravens, and kind of outplay them a little bit. CJ Stroud is so good at throwing the ball down the field. Lamar Jackson is really good, but he tends to run the ball a lot more than CJ Stroud does. So if he's not going to be able to run the ball when he gets flushed out of the pocket, I don't know if he has the playmakers down the field to make this game really competitive for the Ravens. And Lamar Jackson has not played well in the playoffs, man. In those 3 playoff losses, he's got blown out in pretty much all of those games, and he's looked terrible. He's turned the ball over. The pressure seems to get to him. So are these the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC, where they have a great regular season, they get that number 1 seed, they look all good, and then the playoff games actually start and they get the brakes blown off them. They don't show up, they come out flat, they find themselves behind, and the game plan completely changes. That's why I'm predicting the Houston Texans to go on the road to get this victory 27-24. I think it's going to be a sneaky game for bettors. I think this line is ridiculous in this game. I think it's sitting around 9 points, and I'll take that all day. I'll take both of these teams. If you can tease out the Packers and the Texans, tease them from 9 to like 15 and get a 3-score game, I think you can make some really, really good money, guys. But I just think CJ Stroud's juice, he's got those Texans believing, man. And he's turned me into a believer in CJ Stroud. I wasn't completely convinced the first 6 weeks of the year, but since then, oh my gosh, he's made me look like a fool. He's looked incredible. And the thing is, guys, he doesn't ever look to run. He's always got his eyes down the field. He's really good at picking up the blitz and finding those open receivers when defenses send more guys. I like CJ Stroud. I like the Texans. An upset's coming, guys, 27-24. I had a blast talking to you guys about this Ravens-Texans game. I think an upset's coming, and if you're into betting, those 9 points that the Ravens are giving to the Texans seem pretty juicy to me. I think I'm going to put a $100 bet on the Texans getting those 9 points. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys about this game. I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. Enjoy the games. Win some cash. Let's go!